Welcome to this edition, the Rocky Stucci Show, this Monday morning. Today's date, the 20th. What's the 20th? It's actually a really special day because today I don't know, Mr. Baker, what happens today on the 20th?
Man, I heard there's something going on up around the swamp area, D.C. I don't know. Something about what?
You know, and brother, first, welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, you have to know. You've probably seen me with him a million times. My brother Glenn Baker, he is the man in charge of the documentary that's going around. Finish This Fight. You guys seen a bunch of reels and sizzles. You guys seen us on location doing a bunch of stuff. And this is now our time to sit there on the day we bring in a new president to this country while we discuss Finish This Fight, while we discuss societal issues. Glenn Baker in the house, the Rocky Stucci Show. Brother Glenn, how you doing, bro?
Dude, one of the things I've looked forward to for a long time is my premiere on the Rocky Stucci Show, baby.
It's a real thing. And Trump lives.
Yeah, no doubt.
Dude, it is
in their head and in reality, baby.
I'm actually really glad. We talked about it a lot when we were on the road. We spent some nights in some hotels together. You know what I'm saying?
We ain't got to tell everything we know, bro.
Did I do anything? I was a pretty well-behaved individual.
You actually were, man. I think you were on your best behavior around me. I was expecting some of this wild Stucci stuff that I'd heard about. And, man, you were pretty much on point.
Yeah, there's a transition time for that, you have to really understand me to justify some of my behavior. So, which is kind of weird. Brother, it's a good day today. We have seen some weird things in this world. You and I have had a lot of discussions in regards to societal events, to social issues, to political issues, to veteran issues, to a lot of different issues that are, streamlining the pulse, of the American citizens. And the American citizens seems to be the one, even though they are the streamline of the pulse, they seem to be at the back of the line. You and I both have dealt with personal things. You have been tragically crushed by the system, and you fought for the system.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I have conflicts with is I'm not a veteran, and I wish I was. But I could never understand what it would be like to go fight for a country, to come home, to be kind of kicked in the teeth in the way you did. And so that is the premise of your documentary. So let's give everybody the quick breakdown of the documentary, and we can kind of blend it in the conversation with what's going on today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's actually how it started, Rocky. I mean, you remember you were on set with us while we were doing the music video for Finish This Fight. And then God just kind of whispered to me, he said, boy, I want you to do a movie. I said, huh? He said, you heard me, son. I said, I want you to do a movie. And I said, yes, sir. So we talked about that. And I talked with Travis, the director of the music video. He's like, well, okay, I could do that. What's it about? I said, I don't know. What's it called? I don't know. I just know it's what we're supposed to do. And 90 days later, Rocky, you and I and Travis had produced an hour and 52-minute full-length feature film. And it starts talking about my life. And never in my life did I think I would live an interesting enough life to create a movie about it.
Let's go back for just a second, because it was an adventure, bro. It was really weird, and how everything came together. When we first met the first weekend we were together, when we were doing the video, the music video, everybody was kind of tripped out, man. It was like, because we were in a house full of strangers that felt it was the weirdest thing, brother. And I usually don't butter toast when it comes to saying the things I'm saying right now, but we all felt that same spiritual experience, that something was right. And we still, even to this day, we're just like, what's going on? So we started out, and we'll kind of take everybody into this journey, because there are a lot of events that we've experienced that were personal growth events just through the filming or the recording of the music video, and then the fruition, the idea, the seed of the planting of the documentary, and this continuous fight that, Glenn, you've had since that time. And it's been nonstop for you, brother. Good, bad, indifferent. You have not stopped, brother. You're a tank, man, and I'm so damn impressed.
Well, let's go back to that part before we talk about the movie then, Rocky, because I think you're right. I met you, I think, on the phone 2 weeks before we headed to Georgia. Is that about right?
Yep.
And you started helping me with my social media, and you built the website. And dadgum amazing work. And I'm like, okay, this guy's got something going on here. And we became, I don't think we just became people. We became buddies.
Yeah, I
And
don't. I never even felt the business side of anything,
yeah,
and that's the relationships I really appreciate. I really do, Glenn.
well, and I do too, but I appreciate it even more when it goes beyond buddy into friendship because I don't have a lot of those. I don't allow myself to have a lot of those because truthfully, and golly, here, smack my hand. A lot of people are so selfish that they won't let you in deep enough and they'll take what you give them.
Well, do you notice that I got it's very toxic in my life right now, and I'm working on a lot of things. It's very profound because you've been one of the people that I've been able to lean on in regards to personal things that I deal with. And as a man, there's a lot of things that it's very difficult for us to talk about, especially with other men.
Yeah.
And Glenn has offered that shoulder, and he's been very patient with me because there's been times where, I mean, I shut down, and you talk about loyalty, and Glenn, you proved that beyond measure. And when I experienced that, because I have such a shield up, because I felt so abandoned from different experiences over the last 4 or 5 years. So now it's kind of like I'm afraid to become friends with anybody, And then anytime you start feeling a relationship brewing, or it's like, man, he's a good person. Then it's like, how am I going to lose him? Because you have so many experiences like that. So you get to this point where it's just like you start appreciating somebody so much to protect that, you back off. So you don't, no justification. But people really have to understand Glenn's not that guy that I've seen over the last 4 or 5 years in the Hollywood realm. Glenn is not that guy. And Glenn is not about the me. He's not about the FaceTime. He's not about the ego part of what he's doing. And I've seen that, and I've seen it, how it destroyed so many different things. Glenn is true. When you hear Glenn come up to you and grab your hand and pray for you, he's sincere. When he compliments you, he's sincere. When he scolds you, he's sincere, right? When he's an asshole to you, it's for a reason. But Glenn, it was important for me to say that, even though it was long-winded, and I apologize for that.
Not at all.
But it was important for me to say that because genuinity is a rarity.
Wait, what was that word? Genuinity?
Dude, I just rolled with that shit, bro. I didn't even hesitate when it came out my mouth, bro.
Write that down. We're gonna term that thing, baby. That's keyed right there.
Wait a minute.
Genuinity.
Genuinity.
Baby. I love you for that, my friend, and I appreciate that. And
It's
and
real.
I do call you a friend, and I appreciate that. So,
You've proven that, bro, because you put up with my shit. Trust me.
hey, I did see a huge iguana a couple days ago, and it made me think about you. I didn't get a picture of it, but I saw one.
I still tell people about that story. I was leaving Glenn's house, and this whole, I like Florida. It's beautiful. There's just different creatures, like you're living with Godzilla. It's real. And I was going to the gas station, and it was the size of a freaking German Shepherd. I talked about it for the rest of the day when I was at his house. Wouldn't stop talking about it.
Yeah, you did.
It's the weirdest thing, man. It's awesome.
Well, dude, man, I appreciate it so much. So we'd known each other about 2 weeks, and I called you up and said, hey, we're going to Georgia. Can you come with me?
Yeah.
And you're cool. So you drove your butt from Dallas to North Georgia, and we met at an Airbnb. And see, I'm kind of different when it comes to people. I like to nest with the people that I'm going to be working with because it's a bonding experience. You get to know them on a different level. And something happened really strange that weekend, or that week. I guess it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, something like that.
Yeah, like what?
And we just kind of, I don't know, God took over, man. He started creating something. And so we began to film. And, day one was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. We were learning about each other. It was learning about Travis, the director, who I hadn't met. In fact, I only met him on the phone 2 weeks before. So it all came together really quickly. And then day two, out in that range where we were blowing stuff up, man. Dude, there were people crying all over that field. Just because God was doing something in their lives. I had women come up to me with tears in the back, behind the scenes, the women that were, catering and helping and doing that, with tears in their eyes, bro, saying, I thought I understood. I didn't understand.
Dude, I guess, I don't understand. And when I was there, and I guess, I don't know if you told me if they told you that before, because when you just said that to me, it hit me and set me aside a little bit, because maybe I'm trying to think of what was it. Because like I was so enthralled to watch them, and then when you came up to me when you guys were taking a break, and all the guys were all there sitting on the logs and this kind of sitting, and you came up to me and you just kind of stood next to me and you didn't look at me, you just kept looking at them like I was, because I was just like, wow, the scene of just them sitting on the logs, I felt like I was somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. And you looked at and you just kept looking forward, and he says, you see that? And I says, yeah. And he said, that's what it's all about.
That's real.
He said, what you're looking at right there, that's it right there. Because it was like 10, 12 guys, and there was a few different groups, and there was, maybe 2 guys over here on this log getting real deep on life about shit. Then you had 3 guys over here talking about buttholes. You know what I'm saying? It was, dude, it brought tears to my eyes, man. And it was such an honor to be part of that. But to witness the battle scene, though, bro,
that was a whole different level, baby.
that dropped everybody, but I'm getting chills on my legs right now. Nobody was ready for that.
Yeah.
Explain to people the meaning and the event of the battle scene.
Well, that was, let me just tell you how the song kind of goes. It starts with a couple of young men standing in line to join the military. They raise their hands, sign on the dotted line, then they hop up on the bus and they meet each other, from 2 different parts of the world. The song says one from L.A. and one from Arkansas, That's as different as you can possibly get. Actually, it starts, the video starts with my drill sergeant calling cadence. Yep. My actual drill sergeant from Fort Sill, Oklahoma, back in 1989, and I found that sucker. And we got to interview him when we were in Texas. We interviewed him. But so they jump up on a bus, become buddies, laughing, cussing, talking about the girls they love. They go off to training, they get close, they become battle buddies, make a pact, always going to be together. And so the third verse, the second day, is when they got the call. And all hell breaks loose, and now they're in war, and they're in a battle. And we had these badasses show up that morning. We've never met those guys before.
100%.
Showed up volunteering to act out a battle. And I was just blown away. I'm talking about Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major from an intelligence group, former special ops, 6'27". I think he was huge.
Huge.
Golly, old. I mean, old.
And he served under Flynn.
He served under Flynn, yeah. We had a master sergeant whose last duty station was in Bogota, Colombia. Do I need to say any more about that?
Who was that? Which one?
That was Mark Messina.
Oh, yeah, bro. Ooh, that's my dude, man. Yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah, Salvador. Sal, who is, he was a former,
yeah, you guys heard right,
engineer.
by the way. You guys heard correct, by the way. So he said Salvador, right? So we had a second shooting because I screwed up the first time. So we went back up to Georgia, and when we got to Sal's house, dude, he had it. We had it. Dude, he had the Italian Fiesta set up, man.
Yes, he had, baby.
Italian meats and the olives and the olive oils and the balsamic vinaigrettes. And it was like, molto bene. It gave me chills. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean?
I met Sal the day before, and that was day 1 where we filmed at the Civil War Cemetery.
Yeah. And I learned something that day, too, about that cemetery. I didn't know that they kept them separated.
I didn't either.
Tell everybody what that was. That tripped me out.
So we had some costume uniforms, not authentic, but costume uniforms from Civil War, one Confederate and one Union. And we were going to put these 2 people into the music video part of it as dead soldiers saluting the new guy that had died. And as we're getting the Confederate in uniform, the actual manager of the cemetery walked up and said, he can't be here. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, this is a Union. This is a Union cemetery, and you can't film a Confederate in here.
Straight up, dude.
Blown away, baby.
I didn't know. Bro, that was trip. When he told me that, I was like, dude, that's like, there's still like the war going on, man.
Yeah.
Like Ghost.
Yeah. So we had the Union guy, and then we had some others, and standing around behind my son who got to be play a part in in that music video, and it was oh my gosh, it was a powerful scene. These guys showing up out of the dead, inspectors saluting this new fallen soldier.
Yeah.
What an incredible time. But anyway, Sal showed up. I saw him that morning. It was 6:30 in the morning, maybe even earlier than that. And he's leaning on his tailgate. And I walked up and I looked in his eyes, and dude, I knew. I looked in his eyes and I knew he had seen some stuff.
Oh yeah.
This guy's the real
I don't
deal.
think there was one person there. I think that might have been part of that energy, is that there was some kind of a kindred. There's some kind of a kindred frequency, even though I'm not, the veteran, right? But there was still something like, there was something, bro, you're right. There was something in everybody's eyes.
Yeah. And then we had Tom Stratton, the blonde guy with the blonde beard.
Yep.
And dude, I had met him on the phone before I got up there. I sent him the song, and this guy called me back in tears. He said, "How did you write my story in a song?" And it had happened to him, and he sat down with you, I believe.
Yeah.
He sat down with you and explained his story, and how his battle buddy named Tom Strickland,
Yeah.
Tom Stratton and Tom Strickland,
Yeah.
and how his battle buddy was the first casualty when they deployed. So it was something special, bro. And that, I think I didn't want that energy to go away and be wasted and not capitalize and use that. And so when God whispered, "Let's do a movie," I'm like, okay. I don't know what we're going to do, but okay, let's do it.
You're still doing them justice, though, by just acknowledging some of the acknowledgments that you had during the filming. Dude, when Tom sat down, because we sat down with him 2 different times. We sat down with him at the church, and we did an outside interview, but we also did a follow-up in Georgia in Sal's home, and kind of covered the same thing. I think it's important, and as not a veteran, and when I used to do these events in Minnesota, like the Vietnam vet welcome home ceremonies, brother, when I would see the reaction, to me, gratitude is gratitude. I know I'm thankful, right? But I never really understood the impact that it had on the individual that I'm gratitude to, you know?
Yeah.
And when you go up to like a Vietnam vet and you just, you give this little speech, which I thought was just kind of like generic, but then you say those words like welcome home. You never realize how profound 2 words were to somebody who buried that in their chest for over 50 years.
Oh, it's humbling, bro.
Bro, and so when you had these experiences like you had, in the acknowledgement, like when you sit down with Tom and you acknowledge that, it's just like that was a profound story, and I recognize that. I think that's a great part in a lot of people's healing, is this feeling acknowledged.
I think it is too, and there's a saying that's really popular, maybe a little cliche now.
By the way, bro, you're looking really damn hot in those glasses, bro.
You know what? I look like battered meat if I take them off. So, this is like a 50% improvement on me.
That was weird, bro. I mean, you say battered meat right away, I'm just like, really, bro?
Yeah, they kind of like that. But there's a cliche, and it's not a bad one. And when people come up and say, "Well, thank you for your service," and I don't think most people put the thought in, just like you're talking about. Don't really put the thought, it's the words. And I wanted people to understand what it meant to sign the dotted line. And that's where Finish This Fight, the song, came from. I want them to experience that and dive deep. And I think it worked like clockwork, baby. I think it pulls you into that you are now the one that signed the line, and you're the one that put your life on the line, and you're the one that just saw your buddy killed in battle. It's not make-believe. It's not just a dotted line that's on a document. It is signing your life away up to the point of death. And I wanted people to experience that. But here's what I also learned through the filming of the movie, and it was with you too, Rocky. There are a lot of soldiers in this battle that we're going through right now between good and evil. It's not Democrat and Republican. It's good and evil. And there's a lot of soldiers in this battle that never wore a uniform. And we brought some of those in. And dadgummit, son, I include you as one of those as well. You've worked your butt off doing what you're doing to bring awareness to the people, to bring some more people into the battle. We brought you, Travis Conover. That young man is a freaking amazing 35-year-old young man, dude. And a warrior, black belt Taekwondo, good looking, tall. He pisses me off just because of all 3 of those things.
You think you could take him?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think,
You're so full of shit, bro. You know, you said the same thing. You said the same thing about your son. You know what I'm
dude,
saying, bro? And your son thinks he can whoop your ass. I'm
the
just saying.
spotlight is right here now,
Good
baby.
point. Yeah, I think you could take him. I think.
9 mil.
Oh, why are you so red, bro? Look at your face. You turned all red on that one, bro. Holy crap, bro.
9 mil, baby.
I think you can take him. I do. I think you can take him.
But we brought you guys together. We brought a lady named Shamika Michelle.
Yep.
What did you think about Shamika? We didn't get to use her nearly enough in the
No,
movie.
there's a lot of people. As a matter of fact, I think, and I haven't talked to you about any of that, but you probably have quite a bit of content that's still unused content of
Yeah.
some of the most profound conversations. Shamika, so when you sit there and you listen to somebody, and here's the thing that stood out the most of what she said was that she grew up believing what she believed in because everybody around her told her that's how you're supposed to believe.
Yeah.
You know, so she believed in this whole Democrat ideology because she was told to. And I think that's the case for most people, brother. And I just said something recently. The hardest part in life is unindoctrinating yourself and just kind of reestablishing your identity through your visions, your views. And you even find yourself sometimes be like, man, I don't know. I kind of question my thoughts on is it right or wrong? But I think that's always evaluating your perception, I think, is a good thing, too.
It is, and you've got to be open enough to say I was wrong. That's a hard thing for people to do, brother.
Bro.
That's a hard thing. So any of your listeners that are listening to this right now, let me just tell you this. Don't believe everything I tell you to be the truth. I'm going to tell you I believe it is, but don't believe me. Find out for yourself. Now, don't go finding your truth. I hate that term. Well,
Right.
that's just my truth. No, bull. There is the truth. There is not your truth. But find out how that fits with the way you believe and the way you want to live. And that's what makes us all Americans, dude. We ain't got to believe exactly the same.
So,
We ain't got to fight over it. We ain't got to believe exactly the same.
I'm sorry, brother.
No. Do you think?
You know, the hardest part, and so I want to work into when you fought for our country and it's time. It's always that time to come home, right? You know, there are a lot of experiences that we have sometimes. And Glenn, I'm not being a sourpuss, brother. I am just thinking out loud, and I have always thought myself to challenge the status quo no matter what it is. I don't care who the president is or what team they're on. I'm always going to challenge the status quo. And there's times, bro, where I evaluate freedom and I evaluate this country and I evaluate what I was taught compared to what's real compared to what I was taught. And it just seems like a lot of things are not what I actually grew up thinking this country really was. And it's not new. You know, a lot of this corruption has been going on for so long. We've just been in that slow boiling water, you know. You came home from fighting for this. And this is, and I try to be careful when I ask this question because I don't ever want to devalue that sacrifice, brother. And I don't ever want to say that what soldiers have done over all these years, the thousands and millions of them that, you know, they're fighting for a criminal organization. Because we fight, even with me on the streets, I fight for what I think is right. And it's that American ideology, bro. And I think that's what makes us superior to the world. It's not our politics. It's not the White House. It's what we do in adversity, and look at the LA wildfires. Look at, you know, it's like we take care of our shit when we have to.
Yeah.
How do you digest it, though, brother, when you're over across the country and looking at people that want to destroy us, to come home to look at a political system that is internally destroying us? You fought for freedoms for people like me and the average common Joe, and you got your own freedom stripped away.
Brother, I was so indoctrinated that I didn't see it. And I'm going to tell you, I think the majority of people that join the military, they do it for the right reason. They want to fight for their country. And I will still fight for my country to this day, but I would never put the uniform on for the government. There's a difference. And I didn't see it. I did not see it until my freedom was taken. So let's talk about that. You want to? 2017, after being in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, for about 11 years, minus 2 years in North Carolina. I'd had a log home business in North Carolina, building log home kits. I had a mill. Dude, I got my hands dirty. I was building stuff, you know. Oh, yeah, I worked like a sled dog.
What?
But, yeah, I enjoyed it. Was doing pretty good. And then a
Do sled
contractor.
dogs, do they work hard?
How far as I mean, it's a great term. I'm thinking they probably
I
do.
did feel that a little bit, though, bro. I got chills a little bit. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, yeah. So working hard, and then a contractor decided he needed about $33,000 worth of material and didn't need to pay me, and walked away with some bank money and that kind of thing. And it gave me an opportunity to come back to Florida and relaunch my life insurance business. Now, I'm not going to tell you the part about a beautiful woman kind of luring me back into a relationship. That's a whole different subject.
Okay.
Oh, women,
I got
dadgummit, women, man.
questions. They do shit to your face, man. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? They do shit.
oh. So I came back, relaunched my life insurance agency. That was 2014, July. July of 2017 to get a knock on my door and getting ready to go out and work. 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon. Nothing better a pair of shorts and flip-flops, and we act that out in the movie. Travis convinced me to do a topless scene. I just want to make that clear right now. So
I zoomed in on that on slow motion for the
I
record.
bet you, I know you probably did. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But yeah, I knock on my door, and there was 10 cops and a SWAT team there. And long story short, because, man, you and I could go for hours here.
Yeah, man.
So I don't know what your timing's like. But ended up telling me there was a domestic disturbance call. I lived alone. It couldn't have been possible. Asked me to step outside and show him the ID. And the moment I stepped outside, I'm against a wall and handcuffed and under arrest. They can't tell me why. No Miranda, no, I don't know why I'm under arrest. I'm just taken to Broward County Jail, Fort Lauderdale, where I didn't see an attorney for 23 days.
Jesus, bro.
Didn't see a judge for 8 days. Didn't let me access my cell phone. And told me it would take a court order. So the 8th day, we got the judge to write a court order to give my cell phone, because I didn't have any telephone numbers memorized, dude. The smartphones have made us stupid.
Sure have.
I mean, it
100%.
absolutely has. So we got the court order to access the cell phone, and the next day the jailer comes back and said, well, they're not going to charge it. Can't see it. What? They just blatantly ignored a court order. So 23 more days, and nobody knows where I'm at. My kids thought I died. I don't know if you talked to my son about that, but yeah, they thought I was dead. And then I get into a van, shackled hand and foot, and taken to North Carolina. It was a 48-hour trip. Night one, we spent the night in a jail in Valdosta, Georgia.
Yeah.
And then traveling to North Carolina. Now, we were on the Culture Board the other day, Tim Pool's show.
Yep.
And I just thought of this. I've never told you this story. And I told Travis this, and he's like, why did you not tell me this when we were producing this movie?
Oh,
But,
no.
oh, it's that good. So I'm in the back of this van, shackled hand and foot.
Ooh.
And I see one of the jailers. There's two black people, one man and one woman, late 20s, early 30s, something like that. And I see the woman in the passenger seat on her phone, and she's got her Facebook up, and I'm making friends, baby. I'm doing the Glenn thing,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm
all right.
talking to her, and I finally say, I see you're on Facebook. Can I ask you a question? She's like, yeah, what's up? I said, could you go on your messenger, and I want you to send a message to a guy named Kenny Dietrich. And she's like, what? I said, yeah, I don't have any phone numbers. They wouldn't let me access my phone. I don't even know what's going on. I need to get in touch with somebody. I finally convinced her to do it. And so she's on her messenger, and I said, now here, he's going to think you're a scam because he don't know you. So tell him this. Tell him I've got Glenn Baker in the back of a van going to a jail in North Carolina. And he told me to tell you that he's the same guy that was standing flat-footed underneath a Dodge Neon. And she told him that.
That was it.
And that's how I got my first telephone number.
Yeah, because Kenny was the one who tells everybody that Glenn can walk underneath the Dodge Neon without bending over. Oh, he said that shit to me. It was so funny, man. I thought it was the funniest shit.
So, but I actually used that and got a telephone number, and that's how I got a hold of my people then.
But
I
you
got
know how
North
to,
Carolina.
you know how to drop the secret language though, because you know that there was going to be the speculation, so you needed the immediate lockdown to lock this shit in and say this is for real. Don't waste my time. We got shit to take care of.
Exactly. And I can't believe she did it. That was God, baby. Because a jailer doesn't do that for somebody that's handcuffed in the back. That
No.
just doesn't happen.
Handcuffed and shackled in the back of a white van.
Mm-hmm.
You sure that was the jailer, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Might have been an angel, baby. I don't know.
I don't know. I got questions about something, Baker. I seen you do something, and you were dressed as a grandma, bro.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've got the gift, I think, and so
To
we
be a
got to North
grandma?
Carolina. Yeah,
Okay.
we got to North Carolina, and then I found out what was going on. And my former business partner, who'd been a pastor for 49 years,
Pastor.
pastor, 25 years on TV, had embezzled $22,000 from a client that I'd given him when I exited the company and signed it back to him. Happened 3 years before. I didn't know it had taken place. It was 7 months after I left the company, and no evidence. There wasn't any evidence that I knew what was going on, that I participated, anything. And I ended up spending 51 more days in that jail. And Rocky,
Did
we got
you
out.
did you get any kind of retribution for that? Any kind of not retribution? Did you get any kind of financial? I mean, you were incarcerated, dude, for how long?
Almost 3 months.
Almost 3 months.
Yeah,
Miserable.
miserable. Lost everything. By the time I got home, I'd found my home. I'd been evicted.
Were you
Um,
uncomfortable the first time you took a shower in jail?
no, that stuff didn't bother me.
Really?
Because man, I'd been out in the desert. I'd
Oh,
taken
okay.
I'd taken a dump in a hole next to the chapel, and that stuff didn't bother me.
What? Did
What
you pray?
bothered me was
What?
being 23 hours a day in an 8 by 10 cell.
Been there, bro. Been there.
Yeah, that's what bothered me.
Yes, sir.
So I got home. I found out I lost my home. My car had been repoed. 80% of my life insurance agency was gone. And the night after I got home, an infection that I'd caught in that jail the week
Yep.
before that wasn't treated went into my right eye and destroyed my cornea. So I spent a year, Rocky, not caring whether I lived or died. Was just defeated. And I think you might know something about that, coming out of defeat. But God pulled me up out of it, and I mean pulled me out in a big way. A buddy of mine, in fact, I just talked to this guy 2 days ago, that was here visiting from Oklahoma that I'd worked with in the past, took me to dinner one night. And that night there was an 80s cover band playing. And dude, 80s music, baby, there just ain't nothing like it. And for the first time in a year, I was smiling, and I was laughing, and I was singing. And in the middle of a song, this little girl named Karina Reynolds came over and handed me her microphone, and it changed my life forever. And God called me back to music after I had not sang a note professionally in 17 years. And
You know,
that's where this all came from, bro.
it's interesting how that situation drove you to music, and I'm not, when I had a stint and I had to serve a bunch of time, and when I got out, it was no, I was actually still in. I told you the story when I played semi-pro football.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just like that part of my life was necessary. And like with you, with the music, it was necessary. There was a reasoning behind it. Now, mine was short-lived because mine was anger management, I think. You know what I'm saying? And yours is more of a lifelong purpose type of situation. And you had to be directed into that purpose. And the hardest part I have with all this, brother, is that in order for us to intellectually understand life at the levels that we do, the only way to understand it at those levels is to experience the pain that we have. And that's the part that sucks.
This is the Rocky Stucci show. Can I be real, real?
This is the only place you can be as real as you want without, dude, this hammer down, bro. Anything you want to say, anytime.
Here's something that we as humans don't get very easily, and most people don't get it ever. God is not concerned with our temporary, because this is temporary. I mean, we live in this vessel. We're not a human with a spirit. We're a spirit with a body, and we're going to be here forever. So this temporary discomfort, if it's got to be uncomfortable to get us to where we need to be our best, it hurts him. It hurts us. But he's okay with it, because, dude, here's the thing. I've told you this. I've seen God working in Rocky Stucci since you and I met. And I've seen God working in Glenn Baker. And I wouldn't wish what I went through on my worst enemy. Until I met Nate Kane, I'd never met anybody that had gone through worse than what I did by not doing anything really to cause it. But you couldn't walk up to me today with a bag with $10 million in it and say, Glenn, I'm going to give this to you if you let me take that experience away like it never happened. I'm out. I'm out because that has put me right where I'm supposed to be to this day. And I think I'm just at the beginning, brother. I'm 57 years old. It's like I'm born again, baby. This is the new and improved Glenn Baker.
So let me ask you, if somebody came up to you and said, Glenn Baker, what is your purpose?
My purpose, truthfully, is to glorify God and to follow his direction for me. It's not the same direction he's got for you. We're part of a body. I might be the butthole and you might be the nose. I mean, but we've got our own purposes. And I'm going to follow that purpose wherever he tells me to go. Don't think about that don't think about that too hard. I'm going to follow the purpose that he's got for me. Dude, it's the weirdest thing. You know, what 50-something-year-old man have you ever seen that's trying to break back into country music? That God said, go do it. Doesn't make sense. That filmed and filmed his story in a movie that's just the country boy next door. Dude, you wouldn't have known me. You wouldn't have known me if all this stuff hadn't happened.
And did it in time, dude, that it would take professional companies probably 16 months.
Yeah.
We did it in 90 days.
90 days. Knock that sucker slick out the park.
That's pretty good.
So my purpose is just to glorify God and do what he tells me to do. And I've learned how to hear him. And it's a real small whisper. It's a small whisper, and it gives you peace. When God's calling you to do something, you're going to have peace about it. You may not have peace about your circumstances. You got to learn how to do that. But you got peace about what you're supposed to do.
Well, here's a question, bro, that everybody's going to have for you. Because this, I'm speaking open. No, I'm very open with I'm not conflicted. I just get angry sometimes because I'm trying to understand the purpose. But the hardest part sometimes, like with conversations we've had, and I need you to kind of help people understand is keeping that purpose and keeping that mental fortitude and that ability to think forward while you're dealing with so much adverse situations, because that's where faith to me is challenged the most.
Faith is not found in the light. It's not found in the beautiful day out on the lake catching fish and you're hitting every cast. Faith is found when there's nothing else. That if God doesn't, you're doomed. That's where faith is found. I'm going to tell you, most people in America and most Christian people in America don't truthfully know what faith is. They may know what the Bible says. The Bible says it's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. But they don't know because they don't let themselves get into a position to have to trust God. Brother, 73 days in a jail losing everything. All I had was God. My sister sent me a Bible while I was there. They wouldn't let me have it because it was hardback. They called it a weapon. So all I had was here, what I'd memorized from him. And the words that he kept saying to me in that 8x10 cell over and over and over were, son, I got a plan for you. And it's to prosper you and not to harm you. It's a plan for a hope and for a future. And then he would tell me, and this is all Glenn and God talking, it's, Glenn, I will take what's meant to kill you, and I will turn it into something good for you if you trust me. And I trusted him, baby. Don't ask me how. It's years of trusting him.
That's where I think it's like, and sometimes I think on the outside I'll just be like, I'm trusting, to take the wheel. Oh my God, take the wheel. But I think sometimes deep down inside that we just say externally, and you're right, dude. And that's, I think, something I didn't finish what I was saying earlier when I was talking about the last 4 years of experience, is that one thing I noticed is the amount of people that don't have the ability to remotely practice the same integrity that they preach. They're the policy writers, but they're not the policy followers. They're the do as I say, not as I do. But I have such a confliction when it comes to faith, and these people use faith as a marketing tool,
Yep.
And because that's why a lot of people are pushed away from faith, because they see that, and it's just like, well, then we need to have conversations. So how do we help people understand, right? How do you help people like me understand, these things?
I can tell you that. We have a responsibility to walk what we talk. And here's the thing, man, my life looks really amazing to people from the outside looking in right now. Rocky, I put everything I had into this movie.
Literally.
Literally. Every dime, every ounce of energy, because God told me to do it. And yet here we are still talking that I believe God's got my back. And we're going to be doing great things through it. And I don't worry about it. Now, I could say, screw this, man, I'm done. God, you told me and I'm broke. And shut up, Glenn. This is such a temporary thing. God has never failed me. Rocky, if I'd have gotten out of that jail, if I'd have been there one more day, I would have died in that jail cell.
Mm-hmm.
Because by the time I got home, that next evening that was in my eye, that infection in my eye, it was going towards my brain. And they wouldn't treat me in that jail cell, man. I would have died there. How do you explain when the day before my attorney said, you're going to be here another year and a half? The next day I get out on my signature. The next day I'm blinded. Now oh my God, that's terrible, Glenn. Why'd God let you get blinded? I don't know. But who cares, man? When you're this sexy and you got one good eye,
Whoa.
what difference does it make?
Get a little aggressive, bro. You get a little aggressive, right, man? I wasn't prepared for that, okay? I wasn't prepared for that part.
All I know is he loves me. He's provided for me. He's called me to do something. And he's told me, Glenn, it's time to stand up. Don't look at your circumstances, buddy. Look at me. And that's what I'm doing.
I just think that people just need to pay more attention to people like you in regards to faith instead of looking at the marketers of faith, because it's you have, and I've seen you literally lean on that, like that was it. You know, there was no other options but that faith, and that's what got you through certain things. And I'm working on it, brother, man. You know, we're getting better at it.
Brother, it is not overnight.
Son of a bitch, though. You know, I get angry. I just be like, sometimes I think, here's me. Sometimes I think that we experience some of the evil we go through is because they need motherfuckers like us, too, to combat that evil, bro. And you need to understand the evil and the devils that we're fighting against every day, because if we don't, then we'll never know how they think, and we'll never know how to protect ourselves from that.
Let's break it down into simple stuff. So you played semi-professional ball.
I did.
How did you get good?
Just being this sexy, bro. I mean, I just woke up.
You didn't wake up that good. You woke up sexy. You woke up sexy, but you didn't wake up a great ball player.
No, it was lifetime. Lifetime.
Lifetime of what?
Lifetime of dedication towards that subject matter.
Okay, what did that dedication entail, though? Did you just, every day think I'm going to be a great ball player, I'm going to be a great...
It was both physical and it was spiritual. It was spiritual. It was physical and it was mental. It was when you wake up, your day was programmed around the success of that singular entity of your life.
Yeah. So let's go a little bit deeper than that. Wrestling practice sucked. 4 hours of just beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, not interesting.
I mean, I wrestled in college. My 7th grade year, I didn't win a single match. Not one. I mean, not one. My senior year, you almost couldn't beat me. You had to separate my shoulder to beat me.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why. Because I allowed myself to be put through those intense, ugly, hard practices on a daily. I lifted weights 5 days a week in the off season. And it was not fun. I mean, I can't tell you, I looked forward every day to going and beating up my body.
Right.
But that's what it took to become great. Rocky, that's what it took for you to become great, to be able to walk off onto a field after getting out of prison, walk onto a field and play semi-pro ball. Because you'd already went through everything it took to get you there. Brother, you're right now in basic training as a faith warrior. That's how much I believe in you. I've had to go through it. You know some of my stories, but you don't know all of my stories. That God has allowed me to go through the fire, baby.
I don't know if I can ever fully. So, like an example, yesterday I seen a video of this gentleman with Down syndrome, and he had his country hat on, his cowboy hat on. And he was lip syncing to a song. And, you know, a lot of kids with Down, timing is a very difficult thing for them. You know, even trying to lip sync a song, you notice that they're way off. Sometimes like a half an hour. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's all he was trying to do is make a fun video, put on his cowboy hat, and sing a country song, and act like he was singing, you know. But no, you know, people couldn't appreciate that. You know, people had to be pieces of shit. So they had to go into his timeline, and instead of just being good, supportive human beings and being encouraging and just being like, wow, this dude really, this is probably the most exciting moment of his life, is having just a couple videos that went viral because, you know what I'm saying? But no, you got to have these psychopaths come in and literally degrade the entire character of his existence. And it's just like, I can't be such a good Christian that I would be like, well, God's going to take care of them. Sometimes I feel like it's my obligation to let them know.
You might have a different calling than I do, bro.
I'm just saying, it's just like people just need to know that. Well, so what if we never ever combat that, but people like us continue to get silenced?
Well, we're not going to continue to get silenced, though, Rocky. There's a battle, and we're warriors, and we're called to make a noise. My noise is a little different than your noise, but we're still making noise, and we're still. I bet you didn't sit still for that. I bet you called them out.
Oh.
I know, Rocky. I bet you called them out. But here's the thing, and we got to consider. I don't care about their feelings. I really don't. But I do understand it. Most people they don't feel good about themselves, and so in order to feel better, they're going to try to bring somebody else down to their level.
Right.
You know what? I don't even feel sorry for them. It's a choice. Everything we do is a choice, bro. I got a choice. I could be sitting at home with a pocket full of money and enjoying life.
And you know, you're right too, because, and I tell that to people, new and upcoming people, like even the podcasters. I'm just like, the first thing I say to them is, how good are you at opinions? You know, because, you know, everything is a choice, brother. And if we really dissect a lot of our actions and a lot of what we claim to be oppressed of or a victim of in life, if we really dissected the situations and really broke them down, there's a lot of those situations that would convert back to the motherfucker we see in the mirror.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we actually put ourselves there. But that's the really hard part, is to come to the conclusion of responsibility. Mm-hmm. I still struggle with that, brother. I do.
Again, we've got a different calling. Your life story, way different than mine, buddy. You grew up in a different part of the world with a different bunch of people around you in different circumstances.
If you guys don't know, I was a Chippendale by that time I was in 7th grade. So.
Well, see, I was a Chunkendale.
Yep, and we worked same company, just different venues.
Yeah. I had to go work with the ones that like short, fat people.
A Chunkendale, bro. What the fuck is that? Chunkendale.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead.
We just grew up differently, buddy, and so we all got different callings. I'm going to tell you, I'm a huge fan of Rocci Stucci. What you are and what you're becoming, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you, bro. You know, it's tough, man. It's tough. The world can beat you up so much. It's tough to absorb. You know, like sometimes maybe when somebody comes up to you and says, "Thank you for your service," you know, sometimes it's hard for you. I'm kind of, and maybe it's where I'm at with myself. And so when somebody comes up and it's because I know it's genuine from you, bro. That's why, you know, it's just like it's because I'm so disappointed with me.
Don't be so hard on yourself, brother. We've all got different walks. I saw the real Rocci Stucci, the real Rocci Stucci in Dallas. Whenever we drove by that softball field. Dude. He said, dude, whoop in there.
I brought him there. I brought him to the Miracle League field where I was there for 3 years. And you booked the hotel, dude. That was literally we said it. It was just like, dude, this was like, it was weird. It was weird. I'm like, Glenn, literally, bro, the most important place in my life that kept me alive, bro, in Dallas was that field and those kids. And you got a hotel that we could have walked to the field in about 3 minutes. And so, yeah, we stopped there and I think I started crying because I didn't get a chance to say goodbye.
No coincidences, bro. No coincidences.
No. So it was a big honor for you to see that, dude. It really, because everybody always told me, and this is the thing we learn about life, right? Is that people, I think, kind of on the outside, they do think it's a cool thing that you do it, and from the surface, they really think that those kids deserve it. But I think a lot of the deep, genuine compassion is more pseudo than it is real, because we would show up to those fields and they'd be empty. You know, it would just be the tired parents all the time.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you just felt and then you start seeing some of the kids start to pass away. And it's just like, oh. And then you realize it's just like your voice, man, was the voice they look forward to every Saturday morning to call them.
Brother, your voice and your presence and how you made them feel. Those kids just won the World Series when Rocky Stucci called them across home plate. Amazing.
A big part of my mental health was in success to that, bro. Is to look at the bravery of these kids, man, the bravery. And I said this to you because there's a lot about the world and our behavior that's very disgusting. And to be able to go on a field full of kids and to know that you're not being judged and that your imagination can be limitless and you can be just as goofy and crazy and wild as every single person out there. And that is the one time in an entire week where you are truly free.
Yeah.
And it's with special people, you know.
Buddy, we've followed some rabbit trails so far today. You okay with that?
That's okay. Yeah, man. Hey, so, and I purposely didn't want to really get into a whole bunch about the documentary because my expectation is for people to actually download the documentary and watch the documentary, because what the documentary does entail, like we were just saying, is Glenn fought in the service, man. He comes home, it goes through an incredible experience, being detained for how many days?
73 days.
73. I was born in 1973. I'll never forget that again. Detained for 73 days and then has the issues with the infection. And then to realize that, you know, country isn't everything he thought it was. And so, Glenn, you cover this. You start interviewing some very badass people, dude.
Yeah, you know, you introduced me to a couple of those. So we went to Dallas, sat down in Blaze Studios with Chad Prather. And, you know, Chad and I have become friends since then.
Chad is, dude, he is one of the very few guys that since I started in radio back when him and Graham all started all at the same time back then. Chad to this day has, I've never done a lot of business with Chad. Chad has always been my friend.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that the most about him. And, you know, we do work, we do interviews, we do stuff together, but I appreciated him as a man and his fight through this bullshit industry.
Yeah.
And to still be here, and his faith, dude, is unbreakable.
Yeah.
Unbreakable.
Great man.
Yes,
Man.
sir.
So we had a chance to sit down and talk with him about the state of our country. How did we get here, man? You know, where are we? How did we get here? And what can we do to fix it? And we talked to several people about that have from their own experiences. And, you know, Chad's had those experiences, man. He's lived the rock star life. He ran for governor of Texas. He hit bottom, drugs, alcohol, women, and the whole thing. And God has pulled him back up out of that clay too, brother. And he's making a new life for himself. I think he's on his third or fourth life right now.
Yeah, and you know, it's so much harder to go through life transitions when you're in the public eye, because you know, people don't listen to understand. You know what I'm saying? People all have their, you know, they're either a fan or they're not, right? Yeah. And if they're a fan, they're very supportive and they get it. And if they're not, they're going to dissect every little aspect of your life to remind the world how bad you failed and to deal with that adversity. And to kind of be able to put that shield up and not allow that. That's why most people don't make it in the industry, bro.
I'm having a hard time learning how to segue from that too, man. How to compartmentalize that part of it, because it's going to happen.
It is, and it does happen. And then before you know it, people start showing up at your house at 4 a.m. You know.
Oh well, they don't want to do that.
Maybe they do.
Well, maybe they do, but they don't want to when they get here.
Oh, well, whatever, bro.
I'm blind in one eye, can't see out of the other, but I got a 12 gauge. It scatters.
Dude, let's do this real quick, though, because ADHD just kicked in. I just want to make sure I cover all the bullet points of this. Joshua Holm. We were just talking about seeing Chad and Colonel Alan West in Dallas, and the third stop, and one of the reasons why that Glenn got the hotel where he did was because we needed to make sure that we're close to Joshua Holm's location. And they're in Texas because he is going to be a recipient. We're busting our ass to sell copies of this documentary to put him into Mr. Baker?
Into an exoskeleton. So Joshua is a Iraqi war veteran. In 2003, was injured 3 times in Iraq, was shot twice. Thank God he had a chest protector on. It didn't kill him. But the third time was a mortar. The chest protector didn't help a whole lot. It blew him down into a bunker and broke his legs and broke his back. He didn't even know his back had been broken.
But shot twice and then mortared.
Yeah. Yeah. For our country. Thank you for your service.
And I complain about a toothache, you know?
You know what? Those hurt too, though.
They do.
So,
They do.
they do, man. They do. So Josh got home and discharged with a broken back. And then he had a stroke. And his left side of his body quit working. He was in a wheelchair for, I think, 18 months and had to learn how to walk again. So Joshua was able to walk again for many, many, many years. He was wearing steel braces like Forrest Gump. And he was on the speaking circuit. They nicknamed him the Man of Steel because of the steel braces that he wore. And 2 years ago, December, working on his ranch in Mineral Wells, Texas, there not far from where we stayed, he turned and something snapped in his neck. And he fell. And he is, to this day, chest down paralyzed. Now, this dude's an animal. I mean, he is an animal.
Yep.
But he's chest down paralyzed without the ability to use anything below his nipples. And there is technology out there now that's been out there for 10 years or longer that's not being utilized. And I found this. I did a show with General Flynn about 3 years ago, and we were raising money for an organization that at that time was helping veterans get into them. But what's weird, Rocky, this is weird. I don't know if I've talked to you about this or not. The top company in America, one of the top companies, is called Rewalk America. They've done 85 units in 10 years. 85 exoskeleton units in 10 years. That's not very many. Well, I found out why. That's the front side of their business. The back side, where they make the money, super soldier technology.
Yeah. I knew it, dude. I knew it, bro. We can never have nothing good, you know, without it being weaponized.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do, and here's a God thing again.
What movie was that where they had those one with the blue people? What was that movie with the blue people? Avatar. It was Avatar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They had those big machines.
Yeah.
Bro, I want one. I want one.
Those are cool, and they're going to be available. So what this is turning into, let's go back to finish this fight.
Yep.
We're using 50% of the profit of this movie is going to put an exoskeleton on Joshua Home. It takes 62,000 copies to be sold for that to happen. It's $10.99. Now, I say that because we also have an affiliate program. And so we're paying some affiliates. That's how we're advertising, through podcasters, affiliates, and influencers. So we're paying them to help us get it out there. If they don't take the money, it takes less than 62,000. But 62,000 is not a big number in the United States of America.
So it's
not at all. So that's our goal. 62,000 copies, $10.99, an hour and 52-minute movie with me topless in part of it.
It sways.
Well, we pixelated the sway.
You did, but it swayed. You can see through the pixels. You can see through the pixels.
I knew he would stop just to see.
But he made it legal with the pixels. It made it legal, so the sway is legal now. You know what I'm saying?
It's legal, dude. I had to be realistic. I had to be authentic.
And you look so happy. You look so happy.
Oh my gosh!
And I think your one nipple was super hard. I don't know what was going on with the other one. It was a little lower. You know, it was a little heavy. I don't know what was on.
You zoomed in too close, man.
I did, bro. And then I put music to it too.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing with that movie, and Joshua Holmes is going to be the recipient of that. But this is turning into something much bigger than that. So we're developing a foundation. It's called Finish This Fight Foundation. Triple Foxtrot, Finish This Fight Foundation. And we're going to take this movie across the country doing private screenings, VIP meet and greets. Hey, I might bring Rocky Stucci as a meet and greet.
What does Triple Foxtrot mean?
Finish This Fight Foundation.
F,
Foxtrot is F, yep.
So 3 Fs, triple F.
3 Fs, yeah.
Why couldn't you just say whatever?
Because it's not nearly as cool. Triple Foxtrot sounds
It's not cool, dude. I don't know if I'm legal to talk like that, though.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I dub you Sergeant Stucci. That's it, baby. Sergeant Stucci.
Dude, I'm digging that shit, bro.
Triple Foxtrot.
You're recycling me.
Finish This Fight Foundation, and we're going to take this thing across the country. We're going to do more than this movie, bro.
Tell
There's
me
other
more.
things
Okay, so
coming.
what's your 5 year? Because I know you were talking about doing a lot with the homeless veteran community. So with the foundation, what are just some of the on the surface stuff? You don't want to say too much because you know how that goes. But
Yeah.
on the surface, what are some of the directional visions that you think will come to fruition?
Additional movies,
Yeah.
educational docudramas, because I don't finish this fight's not boring. It's not a boring documentary. We acted out the scenes. We put some drama in it. We put some comedy in it.
Yep.
We make people laugh, and I don't want you to be stuck down in a deep dark hole for 2 hours. You got to laugh,
You know,
because what's really happening is not good, not funny.
and an important thing to really understand about this movie is that it's coming from a veteran's perspective, from his experience. Right? Take out the veteran part of that, and that is probably one of the most relatable experiences that most common Americans can agree upon that they've had, where they have had a situation with our system to where they have been completely crushed and destroyed. And it went completely against our ideological view of what it was supposed to be compared to what we got in return. You know what I'm saying? And that's, I think, where people can really connect with this is that, yes, it's a veteran story, but the story when you got home is a story that most Americans can relate to and what most Americans are pissed off about.
Well, and we shine a light on some different people that show.
Yeah.
We only have a facsimile of freedom. It's not the freedom I thought we had. I thought, well, this is the land of the free, home of the brave. Nah, it might be the home of the brave in some cases, but it ain't the land of the free. Tell me how you can be free when you pay a mortgage for 30 years and you still pay taxes on it for the rest of your life. You don't own it. You don't own it. How do you...
Show me how free you are when you go fishing and get caught without a fishing license.
Yeah. I didn't know that America manufactured those fish and had the ability to tax.
Dude, you think we're going to start coming up with the same kind of regulations in space? Like, who's going to give the authority? What human is going to give themselves enough godly authority to think that they can start managing space?
Well, that's part of what's happening right now through the movement that's taking place. With you know what? And Trump is just a man.
Yep.
Trump is just a man, but he has listened to the people.
Yep.
And his methods and his madness right now seem to be lined up with the things that we're talking about. So what we did was shine a light on the facsimile of freedom, and we showed how nasty America really is in some cases. I mean, Craig Sawyer, SEAL Team 6, Veterans for Child Rescue, and he and I have become great friends through this movie as well. But what really struck me when he told me that, Glenn, the United States of America is the #1 consumer of child porn in the world.
In the world. And sex trafficking and prostitution.
Sex trafficking, yeah. Blows my mind. John Tig from Benghazi, that the Clinton and Obamas of this world left to die. And then, after they got home, a foreign government escorting them out, not our people, a foreign government escorting them to safety. When they got back, talking about, well, this Benghazi thing is such a conspiracy theory and crap.
Yep.
Dude, tell a lie loud enough and long enough and people believe it.
It's so scary, dude. It's so scary. I mean, look what they did with Kamala. They literally changed her identity in a week and people believed it.
I know.
I was done after that. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say once I saw that. So, Glenn, we're running out of time, brother. But I think folks pay attention because I think Glenn's going to be on. I'm on 5 days a week, so Glenn's going to be on quite a bit on the program, be giving updates on the documentary, on new and upcoming things. So, if people want to either purchase, support, donate, what are all the different places? You can kind of see right there on the screen underneath his name there. But what can people do to get involved, Glenn?
FinishThisFight.us. Go purchase the movie. Become an affiliate if you want to help it get out there. I've got all that available. It's all on the website. You should know a little something about that website because you built it.
FinishThisFight.us.
Yeah. GlennBakerUSA.com. If you want to know more about the music side of Glenn Baker, got some pretty cool stuff out there. Freedom, No New Normal, Finish This Fight, some fun stuff. You have
to, yes, go to GlennBakerUSA.com because that's where he has all the songs. His YouTube videos are on that website. Go check out, and it bothers me, and we've had these conversations, it bothers me that he has songs like No New Normal. I do not understand why songs that you have, brother, are not just like off the charts. Like, It's New Norton. We were singing that. I think I can't remember who it was, but was it that we were singing? I think it was Travis. We were singing something in the car. What song was that? Do you remember? And
Oh,
you were saying that I was sounding real good, bro.
like you were sounding good, man. You were. You ought to think about a part-time gig as a lounge singer.
As a lounge singer?
Yeah, absolutely. You got that Bing Crosby thing going on.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about starting a band.
Well, we can do that too. Let's go on tour.
Tell me about the good old days.
That's it, baby. So you asked me 5 years. Where do I see it? I'm going to make it real quick. Additional movies, music tours, all of them designed to raise money to help the veterans that have been left behind. Bring awareness to it and get people involved. So Finish This Fight is not just a movie. It's not just a brand. It's a movement. And you're going to be able to take part in it as we develop this foundation and get it out there even more.
Well, brother, you've done some incredible things, and you are one of the few that practice what you preach. And I personally thank you for, sticking with me, brother, through some. Glenn, you came into my life when here. I just want to add this. Glenn knew this when Glenn hired me. I was homeless, and not my fault, right? So I don't want anybody to think I wasn't like. I always have to say that. It drives me nuts when I say. I always feel like
you got really screwed. You were in a bad way.
I was homeless at the time, and when Glenn called me to talk to me about the service, I think we were pretty transparent about our situation. We had a mutual friend, and so you knew my situation, and he hired me in that situation. So when I went out to Georgia the first time, my family still was back in the hotel that we were staying in because of our situation, and it was because of Glenn. That we were able to eat and kind of like figure out the direction we're still kind of in that buildup. But it was brother, you were the one that reached out to me and gave me that opportunity when I was homeless, and then people really need to hear me when I say that. You hired a homeless. I mean, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I know.
So my gratitude, brother, is beyond measure, and I appreciate your friendship. Thank you.
I knew what a brother looked like when I met you.
One ugly son of a bitch too, isn't he?
Oh man.
Actually, dude, there's days I think I look pretty good. Like, I'll look in the mirror, I'll be like, today's a good day. You know?
Yeah, you got the beard thing going on now. You got a nice, like, point
You
to
notice
it.
that? Did you notice that? What do you think, dude? Tell me, what do you think?
Sexy as socks on a rooster.
All right, bro. That sounds good. I love you, brother. Hey, folks, get used to him. You're going to see more of him. I believe that he's talking some things about some podcasts and stuff coming up, too, in the future. You got the studio you're setting up right there. As you can see, he's in the new quarters. You sent me the picture yesterday. That's what we do. We send each other pictures of our studio.
We do.
So anyways, folks, it's Glenn Baker, my brother Glenn Baker. Go to glennbakerusa.com, glennbakerusa.com. But first and foremost, do me a favor and go to finishthisfight.us. Finishthisfight.us. $10.99 will get you the movie. 50% of the proceeds go to help our brother Josh get into an exoskeleton and help a veteran walk today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Rocky Stucci. Visit my website, stuccimedia.com. StucciMedia.com. We got a bunch of trending news and videos and podcasts right there. So make sure you're there Monday through Friday right here, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Folks, Rocky Stucci Show from my family to yours. Much love, much respect. Until next time, don't forget rule number 1. Don't take shit from nobody. Love you guys.